Loka samasta sukino bhavantu.
Namaste. Honor to the divine within you and the divine within me and the realization that we are one. Let us chant the mystical syllable Om 3 times. Again, your body is a temple of the spirit, and through our knowledge and our intention, we enter into the sanctum sanctorum of the heart to honor this amazing, amazing gift, which we simply call life. Spine straight, take a deep breath, chanting the mystical syllable Om. Our basic premise is that we live in a living universe, a living, breathing, conscious universe, that life is universal. And the root quality of this universal life is it is an infinite ocean of living consciousness. And everything emerges from this mysterious, beginningless foundation or ground state of this universal life. So we begin by contemplating this universal life, which are with our invocation as a focal point for contemplating this incredible mystery of life and the boundaryless, boundless, boundless, boundless mystery of life and consciousness. So together, I am that without boundaries, limitation, or separation. I am a universal life of indescribable energy and unlimited consciousness. The stars and the planets are the cells of my body. I am filled with indescribable energy and unlimited consciousness. I'm willing energy from that I am. Tatwamasi, from that I am. Mahavishnu, the great spirit. Narayana, the soul of the universe. Mahasaraswati, goddess of wisdom, to manifest radiant health, perfect health, divine health, to manifest deep inner peace, equanimity, serenity, to manifest self-realization, illumination, liberation. May peace and justice prevail on our beloved Mother Earth. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti for all our relations. We begin with our invocation of the goddess Saraswati, essence of self. These icons are a way of focusing our consciousness, and as we remembered last class, we are focusing on a unique philosophy in the world, the only cosmology, the only paradigm in the history of man, which realizes the divinity of all life, and then through yoga offers us a path for ordinary human beings to realize their inherent divinity, to transform women and men into goddesses and gods. So we continue our journey on this path to divine realization, to self-realization, with an invocation of our own divine essence as a personification of this mystery, of this universal create life whose nature is creative intelligence.
देव्यै नमः। ॐ ऐं श्रीं ह्रीं सरस्वती 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 देव्यै नमः।
In earlier classes, one of the sages who I mentioned is a medical doctor and a biologist by the name of Humberto Maturana, Humbarto Maturano. And he is calls himself a cultural biologist. He was a medical doctor who was studying perception, how we can see, and ultimately the biophysics and what happens in our nervous system through seeing. And this journey has led him to become what he calls a cult. He's now calling himself a cultural biologist. And what he points out, uh, the most profound element of his teachings, he's suggesting that we should be called homo amoris, that the definitive characteristic of humanity is our capacity to love, that we're born with this tremendous capacity to love. Now, why he calls himself a cultural biologist is because he recognizes that we are this creature that is born profoundly incomplete. You know, that turtle hatches right out of the egg, and its instinct tells it to walk to the sea. It immediately knows what to do. That little bird hatches, and it immediately knows to open its mouth when the mother nears. But we are born with this prolonged childhood. And in fact, midwives will call this the fourth trimester, that we're born so deeply and profoundly incomplete that it literally takes years for us to be able to survive. And the one defining characteristic of this fourth trimester is our capacity to love, that we're, the first thing we can do as we reach up to that parent is often radiate a smile or radiate love, that even a newborn can often smile. And that this early childhood, this fourth trimester, is dominated by love. So then Maturana goes on to point out that, of course, we are all in tremendous pain. And as I say many times, we blame our biography, we blame our psychology, we blame our family dynamics for this pain. But Maturana says that this pain is rooted in a failure of culture. Again, we are completed by culture. So I would say that we are a failure of the dominant paradigm, that we've grown up in a paradigm that is rooted in patriarchal conquest of a peace-loving, matriarchal world, nature-worshiping world, patriarchal conquest, followed by millennium of predatory capitalism and a church that is totally in league with predatory capitalism through most of its history. So we end up with a dominant paradigm that leaves us deeply wounded as we search for completeness. Let me just turn this off. Sorry. And yet there is one culture on this earth which predates all of this and offers us a paradigm of wholeness. And it claims, this culture claims it's not merely a paradigm, that the root of this culture is it is not a religion, but is a way of life. So we're talking about the Sanatana Dharma, this timeless way of life that's offered to us in ancient India. A timeless way of life which is rooted in the realization that all life is sacred, that every moment of our life is sacred, and invites us to live in ritual, to make our life a sacrament. Sacrament means to make sacred, and offers a gesture, a ritual, and a prayer for every breath, every heartbeat, every rhythm, every occasion of life, to live a sacred life, where instead of, I've said that the pain we're in, I've called ontological terror, a disconnect from being. Ontology means being, a disconnect from our root nature as existence itself, the quality of this all-pervasive divinity, this all-pervasive ocean of consciousness is being, existence. And that as we identify with this fragile, fragile mind, we're alienated from being and alienated from nature herself, and alienated from our own self as Satchidananda. So I find it interesting. Oops, we're getting a lot here in the chat. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, just hello. So everything's going okay. You can, okay, okay. Okay. I just, often the chat gets busy, something's going wrong, so I just needed the chat. I needed to just check on that. Thank you. So we continue with our mantra yoga, seeking a completion, a union with our own inherent divinity, seeking to heal this alienation, again, what Maturana would call a failure of culture to complete us. And fortunately, we have this body of holistic wisdom and polarity therapy, and in the Sanatana Dharma, the ancient wisdom that's been so profoundly preserved. So we go on now to our affirmation to lead us from the unreal to the real, from the shadows of our mind into the reality of our eternal life.
Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya.
In the Sanatana Dharma, the wisdom of ancient India, oopsie daisy. I need to stop this for a second and see what happened here. Stop share. I'm assuming you can see the window okay. You can see Om Namah Shivaya. Great. Okay. And can you see it fine if I click the play button? You can still see the window fine? Great. Okay. Great. Okay, I can click the play button without playing. In India, the foundation for our understanding of how, of understanding of the dynamics of how consciousness manifests as this amazing creation begins with the three gunas, the three qualities, the three universal fields that underlie the source, neutral, yang, radiant, positive breath, and yin, centripetal, negative breath. That everything is a life breath of a living universe, neutral, positive, and negative. Sattva being the neutral source, rajas, the radiant, the positive, the creative, the involutionary force, and tamas, the negative, the lunar, the feminine, the evolutionary force that underlies the crystallization of form. And these three forces are personified in a trinity of sattva, Vishnu. Again, Vish means to pervade with consciousness. Vid comes from the same root vade, to see. Vish is not merely to pervade, but to be conscious, to see, to realize. So Vishnu personifies being, sattva guna, consciousness. Brahma, the ever-expanding breath of life, personifies rajas guna, the creative intelligence, the ever-expanding breath of life, breath of creative intelligence, which unfolds everyone and everything, all energy, all vibration from galaxy to quark is this ever expanding breath of Brahma. And then the negative field, tamas guna, is personified in Lord Shiva, or Siva, S-I-V-A or S-H-I-V-A, or S-H-I-V-A-Y-A. Actually, S-H-I-V-A, Shiva, or Siva in Sanskrit, S-I-V-A. So Lord Shiva personifies tamas guna. And tamas guna is the quality of vibration that describes the crystallization of consciousness into form, that in a sense, Lord Shiva rules the earth and rules the embodiment of consciousness in form. Now, what's fascinating about Shiva is that the word Shiva means auspicious, that what Shiva is pointing to is just how amazing it is to be in a body, just how auspicious it is to be in a body, how auspicious it is to breathe, to see, to feel, to touch, to taste, to cry, to love. That this incredible, incredible journey of embodiment that each of us is in is its definitive characteristic is it is so auspicious. It is such a gift, such a blessing, such ecstasy to be embodied. So tamas guna usually gets a bad rap because it's associated with inertia and resistance. But it's the point that inertia allows the crystallization of energy into this form. And the incredible, incredible, amazing, and delicious journey that each of us is on in the agony and in the ecstasy of embodiment. So we're looking at an image of Bolinath, and Bolinath is the village idiot, simple and easy to please. The thing I love about Lord Shiva is he's just very, very easy to please, very, very simple. He's the friend of, there's no one who he doesn't befriend in his kindness. He's the friend of the thief. He's the friend of the addict. He's the friend of the person who's suicidal. He's the friend of the madman. He's the friend of the most perverse and decadent and confused and lost soul. There's no one who is not worthy of his salvation. And this is the face of Shiva as Bolinath, simple and easy to please. You can always tell an image of Shiva because his vehicle is Nandi, and Nandi means peace, that whenever we're in a peaceful place, we experience the auspiciousness of life. We experience Shiva. So you are, whenever you're in Nandi, whenever you're in a peaceful place, you then become a vehicle for Shiva and the experience of the ecstasy of this gift of life. And around his neck is usually a serpent. He usually is adorned with serpents, which are a symbol of his conquest of death and his conquest of time. The trident symbolizing his conquest of the three gunas. He's usually wearing a rosary of Rudraksha beads, which are called the tears of Shiva. And in his hair is Mother Ganga, the sacred waters of life that give life to this earth flow through his dreadlocks. And it's only through his consciousness and his being that we are able to enjoy this gift of life and the life-giving waters of the Akashaganga, the Milky Way. The infinite stars, life-giving stars, flow into the waters of life through his matted hair, through his wisdom. The feminine aspect of Shiva is often Parvati, Uma, Durga, Bhavani. Bhava means being, Bhavani means becoming. And of course, Mother Kali with her tongue stuck out, her garland of skulls representing egos that she has destroyed. So we can invoke Lord Shiva with the invocation Om Namah Shivaya, and that is our new mantra for this morning. Om, the ground state out of which everything emerges, the holy word. Nama, to surrender to the reality that none of this is mine. It's all simply life. It's an illusion to think you are separate from life and that you have anything that is not a part of life. And Shivaya, the incredible auspiciousness that inheres in this moment of living consciousness. So let us chant Om Namah Shivaya. Last time. Nama any questions about Om Namah Shivaya mantra or mantra yoga, or your experience through mantra yoga. Let's go on to our Gayatri, pranayam, and our sound bath to finish up our time together in mantra yoga.
Bruce, it's not advancing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Huh. Thank you. Huh. Is it better now? No. Because it's advancing for me. Let's close that for now. And okay, we're in. Which one are we in? Okay, let's close this one. See what happens. And okay. And let's see if we can get it to go in here. Let's see what happens here.
सत्यम् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आपो ज्योतिरसोऽमृतं ब्रह्मभूर्भुवः स्वरो सत्यम् ॐ ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आपोच्योति रसोऽमृतं ब्रह्मभूर्भुव स्वरो ॐ भुवः ॐ स्वः ॐ महः ॐ जनः ॐ तपः ॐ सत्यम् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आपोच्योति रसोऽमृतं ब्रह्मभूर्भुव स्वरो ॐ भुवः ॐ स्वः ॐ महः ॐ जनः ॐ तपः ॐ सत्यम् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आपोच्योति रसोऽमृतं ब्रह्मभूर्भुव स्वरो ॐ भुवः ॐ स्वः ॐ महः ॐ जनः ॐ तपः ॐ सत्यम् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आपोच्योति रसोऽमृतं ब्रह्मभूर्भुव स्वरो ॐ भुवः ॐ स्वः ॐ महः ॐ जनः ॐ तपः ॐ सत्यम् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आपोच्योति रसोऽमृतं ब्रह्मभूर्भुव स्वरो ॐ भुवः ॐ स्वः ॐ महः ॐ जनः ॐ तपः ॐ सत्यम् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ आपोच्योति रसोऽमृतं ब्रह्म भूर्भुव स्वरो ॐ
Wrong button. Let's spend a couple of minutes in silence, communing with the subtle energy and coherence that we've cultivated through these practices. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We dedicate our efforts to a vision of a springtime of humanity, where all humanity makes a leap in consciousness and realizes the unity and divinity of all life, where we cherish our Mother Earth as our own dear mother, where we share with each other as brothers and sisters for all our relations. Ahom Takwayasi, Hariom Tatsa. Thank you. Any questions about the chanting or about your own experience of the work?
I have a question, Bruce Kiata. Can you hear
So
me?
let's take a 10-minute break.
Oh, Bruce,
and
I
we'll
had
come
one
back.
question.
And,
Can you hear me?
Yada, did you have a question?
Oh, I did have one.
I
A
see
quick
that your
question.
microphone is.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Oh, okay, good. I was wondering a refresher on the Gayatri, the last one we just did.
Yes.
The purpose of that, I couldn't recall, and I don't know if there's a short explanation, but I can always go back to my notes. But I was wondering that.
Yes. I always think of Gayatri, which again is often translated simply as song, as the English equivalent to Gayatri. And again, she is one of the personifications of the Shakti of Brahma, the manifest power of the creative intelligence, which is at the root of all of this. So for me, it's a way of cultivating a relationship with this all-pervasive intelligence as intelligence. And it's often venerated as the queen of mantras. Again, it's the it's the esoteric mantra of the Brahmin caste. It is considered their most secret and powerful formula for the invocation of the powers. And again, I'm glad you asked that, because I was talking earlier about our incompleteness and how culture is meant to offer us this completeness. And in a traditional, like one of the things, I went to India really brokenhearted and really a wreck emotionally, just in self-loathing and terror and just incredible pain in 1972. And what I found there, and what I particularly found in the Indian family, was a quality of love and a quality of wholeness through that love, which I'd only experienced, in my earliest childhood, and the way my aunties loved me, and the way they say no one will ever love you like your mom. And so what I found in India was families which were in that pure love, in that divine love, in that mother love. And that love is rooted in their traditional village. You went to that temple first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and this priest whose life was devoted to the purity of this offered you this water. And water is this incredibly pure medium for life, and this incredibly pure medium for consciousness. And the priest would offer you this water that you would take to your lips. That it was an opportunity for everyone in the village, everyone in the community, to commune, and to, like, this water was a tuning fork, a living tuning fork that was brought to your lips of divine love. Like, the thing that I've always noticed about these spiritual practices is, if I focus on them deeply enough, I end up in a loving space that I can barely contain the ecstasy. My lips hurt from the smile, just the joy, the ecstasy of this divine love, of this divine essence. And so we're talking about a culture that has the capacity to complete us as homo amoris, as man the lover, as the so Gayatri is the priest's very own mantra that is said to be revealed from a higher dimension, that you join in a chorus that is older than this creation. You join in a heavenly chorus, perhaps, of the deepest communion. So thank you so much for asking that question. It's always good to remember how pure grandmother water is, and what an incredible medium she is for life and consciousness, and how any of us can use her as a medium to invoke the greatest gifts that life has to offer, and to share those gifts with those around us. And we think about the traditional home. When you came into a home, you were offered water to tune into that well, that place on the earth, and that family's well, the blessing of that water, and the place of that water in people's lives. You were offered to wash your feet or wash your hands, or even that water, to bring it to your lips. You're offered a glass of water because of, again, the purity of the mother, and inviting you to throw off the impurities of the world and to tune into this very, very pure essence that grandmother water is offering us in every moment. So I want to thank all of you for your presence and your attention and your love. It's a blessing to be sharing this with you. And we dedicate our efforts to a vision of a springtime of humanity, where all humanity makes a leap in consciousness and realizes the unity and divinity of all life, where we share, where we caress our Mother Earth as our own dear mother, as we share with each other as brothers and sisters, and become homo amoris, loving humanity for all our relations. God is blessed. Thank you so much. Om Namah Shivaya.
Namaste.